Howdy folks, welcome back to War Thunder with the mighty Jingles. That's me, by the way. Oh, that was such a crap intro. Anyway, crap intro, great plane. This is the Japanese N1K2 Shidenkai. Rank 14, apparently soon to be rank 15. Well, but is it? You know, they were talking about moving this thing up to rank 50, but in the next batch there's only going to be 5 ranks. So is this going to be a rank 4 or a rank 5 Japanese fighter? Since I just cannot get onto the dev server, they only open it up once every couple of days and only for a few hours, and I keep missing it. I just don't know. All I know is this thing is amazing. This thing was probably the best Japanese fighter aircraft of the war. However, you know, you've got to take that into perspective. The best Japanese fighter aircraft of the war meant that it was only as good as Hellcats and Corsairs. But by 1944, possibly even earlier, the Zeros were so horribly outclassed by American aircraft that when Japan got their hands on this thing, they only gave it to the most elite fighter formations. And in the hands of a really good pilot, which Japan didn't have that many left at that stage of the war, this thing inflicted some nasty losses on American carrier-borne fighters. It's probably safe to say that the flight model for this thing in the game as it stands is not finished. Wow. I mean, I'm running a 4-to-1 kill to death ratio flying this thing in arcade. I suck with it in historical. I suck with everything in historical. But it's a very, very powerful aircraft in arcade battles. 4 20mm cannons. Kill number 2. Took some damage to the wing, but nothing critical. Who's next? Ground strike map, so I'm prioritising their bombers first. But I'm not proud. I'll kill anything. And if I spot an enemy fighter going after one of our bombers, I'll take him out too. Oh, he's seen me. Well, possibly not me, but he knows he's got somebody on his tail. Build the speed up in the dive. And you know, this thing really does fly. It's not unmanoeuvrable. That's certainly not what I'm saying. But it's a much more stable firing platform than the Zeros. It's so much easier to keep the nose pointed at what you want to shoot. Whereas the Zero's nose twitches all over the place. All different marks of the Zero kind of have that problem. You know, they're very, very manoeuvrable aircraft. But the price you pay for that manoeuvrability is a very, very twitchy nose. You don't get that with the Shidenkai. It seems to strike a really nice balance between the extreme twitchiness of the Zeros and the sluggishness of the Ki-61s. Where you get the Ki-61 at high speed and it's very, very hard to keep the nose pointed at where you want your shots to go. It seems to resist moving. Whereas with the Zeros, trying to get the nose to stop moving is the problem. With the Shidenkai, it's that sweet spot right between the two extremes. It makes it very, very easy to get kills with this thing. And having 4 20mm cannons doesn't hurt either. 3 kills, plenty more to go. Who's next? TU2. Yeah. Keep concentrating on the bombers. It is, after all, a ground strike map. And if you're flying a fighter in a ground strike map, you do have a responsibility to take out their ground attack aircraft. You know, instead of just farming kills on other fighters. Or you should. He has problems of his own, however. And while I'd like to nail that TU2, I don't want to sacrifice all of this height just to get down there and somebody else shoot him down. There's a Yak 9 over there on the other hand. But notice the flashing red and yellow dot on the radar that I'm not paying any attention to. Yep, there it is. One shot. Focke-Wulf 190. Nearly rips my wing off. There he is. Now if he hadn't hit my wing, I might have been able to outmaneuver him. But he did hit my wing. Oh well, so much for the 4-to-1 kill to death ratio. So, just by way of comparison, I'm going to jump into the A6M5 Co, which is a premium rank 12 Japanese gift aircraft that you get for buying the Pacific campaign pack. TU2 down there, who seems to be resisting all efforts to shoot him down. Looks like there's 2 of them on his tail. So yeah, 2 of them on him, I'll leave him alone. But I have noticed this flashing red and yellow dot, and I'm desperately trying to find out where it... There he is. Spitfire climbing up to meet me. Put some shots in. Miss. Pull out. Don't want to collide with him. Drop the flaps. Roll. Use the elevators to turn faster at the cost of bleeding off speed. But notice how the nose of the Zero kind of just... You really have to fight to keep it on target if you're doing any kind of manoeuvring while shooting. Which, you know, is as it should be, especially if you're pulling high Gs. But you don't really seem to get that problem as much in the Shinkai as you do in any of the Zeros. It really does strike that nice balance between sluggishness and twitchiness. It's very, very stable and forgiving for shooting at targets. Quick look around. I seem to be mostly clear. B-17 over there, going for one of our area targets. Spitfire down below. Not an immediate threat. B-17, on the other hand, is. And I don't like going after B-17s in Zeros. B-17 can take quite a beating. Zero really can't. American pilots used to say that initially they were terrified of the Zeros until they learned just how fragile they were. And apparently if you shot them just at the wing roots where the wing meets the fuselage, they would burst into flames and explode every time due to the lack of self-sealing fuel tanks. No cockpit armour whatsoever. Provided you could get one in your sights, they were easy to kill. And the engine seems to get taken out quite easily as well. Now that was lucky. I managed to kill at least one of his gunners on my first pass. So that's going to make it easier to finish him off. Just have to keep avoiding his fire while I close in. And I've picked up an escort. But it's more important that I kill this B-17. I've killed another one of his gunners. So I'm going to stay on him, even if it costs me my Zero. I'm out of cannon ammo. Down to 7.7mm machine guns, and he's going to fly into the mountain now. Yeah, there we go, an assist. Now, check this out. This is great. I'm damaged, I'm not manoeuvring well, I'm low on speed, I've got maybe a second's warning that this Focke-Wulf 190... It's a crash. He just threw a kill away. He had all the time in the world to avoid that collision. And instead of getting a kill, he turns it into a crash. And it costs him his aircraft. So, no kill, and you threw your Focke-Wulf away. Your parents must be so proud. Anyway, back to the Shinkai. Yes, this is an arcade domination map, and yes, I am starting on the runway. I didn't accidentally wipe out my propellers while capturing the runway. Oh no, no. You didn't see it happen. so you can't prove it. And this is from a replay. You know, wouldn't you know it, I have a fantastic game in my Japanese fighters, and I forget to record it. So this one's reconstructed from the replay of the game. So it started off by capturing the airstrip, and then somebody came in trying to nail me when I was on the ground. It didn't work out too well for him. So that was nice. Now I'm going to gain a bit of altitude here, circle around our airfield until I'm at a decent height, and then start looking for victims. And as is usual with Stalingrad domination arcade battles, most of the fight is taking place over the central airstrip. Unfortunately, you can't get all of the elements of the UI because this is from a replay. So I'm just going to have to talk you through it. B-25 spotted. And there's a year 2 up above. Nope, B-25 has just turned in, made himself an easier target. We're going to have him. Get those crits in. Gotcha. And bring it around. Straight on the tail of an HE-111. And you're dead too. Oh, took a bit of a hit there. Check my 6. No problem. Friendlies took care of him. Bring this thing around. Head straight back into the thick of the action. Put it into a shallow climb. Put a bit of energy in the bank in case I need it later. Start looking for the next victim. And Corsair. Critted him. He's down. Spitfire. Another crit. Blew him apart in midair. Check my 6. There's a lightning on the tail. I can outmaneuver a lightning. LA7. Nailed him. Lightning's still after me. Seem to have picked up some unwanted attention from a Typhoon as well. And Focke-Wulf 190, and once again, Typhoon kills me. At this point, I have no control whatsoever over the aircraft. I cannot get out of the way of that Focke-Wulf 190, and he crits himself on my wreckage. And that's going to earn me a kill in a minute. I am in fact going to kill that Focke-Wulf 190 with a dead aircraft without putting a single shot into him. That's not him. Check the chat messages. And if you're paying attention to the chat messages, the sheer amount of crashing and colliding and ramming that was going on, but yeah, it's arcade battles. And it just keeps costing people kills. So here we go. One of the zeros. Got some catching up to do. A monster kill streak in the M1K2. If you keep an eye on the chat message, there he is. Shot down by Jingles in my previous aircraft. There we go. There's another collision. Jeez. Typhoon. Put some shots in him. Gotcha. Bring this thing around, and I'm thinking of going for it now. These guys are all trying to land and recap. Unfortunately, what you cannot see here is the capture status of the various different airfields. Because it's a replay file, and I didn't record it live. But the fight over this airstrip, they're trying to... This is where the outcome of the game is decided. Ooh, taking hits there, break off. Zero's very, very fragile. And I'm thinking, screw it. I'll go for a landing. And I do actually successfully recapture the airstrip. It cost me my propellers. Actually, it cost me more than my propellers. But it was totally worth it. And, yeah. But that put the team back in the game. We were 2 airfields to 1, thanks to that. So, can't mess around, jump into another aircraft. They can very easily recap, as that Spitfire is trying to do right there. And I believe they did in fact recapture. It's a real shame that you can't see the capture status of the various different airfields in the replays, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. Oh, there's the guy who was very generous enough to give me a kill by flying into me. In his Focke-Wulf 190, he's in a BF 109 now. Let's see if we can return the favour. No, LA7 swooped in, took him out. BF-109F there, trying to recap. Not going to let him do that twice. Took him out. Yep, got the kill. But they've got the airstrip again, so I pull it around and I drop my gear. Then I spot a Corsair coming in, and I'm kind of committed. Yeah, no excuse for that. Careless flying on my behalf. Could have easily avoided him and landed and capped the airfield. It's just sloppy flying. No excuses. KI-61C. 2 20mm cannons, 2 machine guns. And I really am not flying this thing properly. At high speeds, this thing is very, very unresponsive. And I keep getting into high-speed diving attacks. And high-speed diving attacks are what this thing is actually very, very good at, but not high-speed diving and manoeuvring attacks. Alright, you really do need to set your attack up properly with the KI-61C. Get a crit on that fella. And I pull it around. And another crit, but then my wing gets sawn off. BF-109 G6. So I've really got to stop trying to fly the KI-61s like Zeros. It's not what they're for. Speaking of Zeros, Dornier 217 down there has just taken airstrip B off us. And because he's a scum-sucking douchebag with no more right to live on God's clean earth than a virus, he sees me diving on him and he suicides, rather than let somebody get a kill. Obviously, he's taken some time off from playing artillery in World of Tanks. So I need to recapture B, but first I have to deal with this King Cobra. So that's exactly what I do. Bring it around, drop the gear, and try to recapture the airstrip without wrecking my plane in the process. Which is by no means guaranteed. You know how much I suck at high speed airfield captures. But this time, I do actually pull it off. So there's my third airfield capture in this game. So, get it back in the air. Let's head back over to C, where the battle is still raging away. P-63 over there. The boys are going in to recapture. You can see those little blue dots just cruising down on the airstrip, and they've done it. They've taken C again. What you cannot see is the actual the ticket counter at the top of the screen. At this stage of the game, you couldn't see our ticket counter. We were hanging on by our fingernails. We just kept taking B and C back from the enemy, and you can see here they come, trying to take it back again. That P-63 actually failed to recapture, but I'm on his tail, and this Spitfire coming in actually kills him, and then kills himself in his wreckage. Arcade battles. So at least the Spitfire got the kill out of it, even though it cost him his aircraft. Wolf 190 going for a capture. P-63 coming in behind him, trying to back him up, capture as well. The Wolf 190 takes control off us, but doesn't manage to actually recapture. The P-63 is running the capture counter up, and I kill him. I drop my gear, I attempt to capture it back, and that's when the mission ends. And we lost. But that's the thing about War Thunder. We lost. Big deal. 9 kills, a whole bunch of assists that you didn't see pop up because you don't get that notification in a replay. And I got a good amount of XP and credits out of that game because my reward is based purely, to a large degree, on how well I did. You know, if the team sucked, and the team didn't suck in this game, they were a good bunch of players. They fought right to the end, kept us hanging on by our fingernails right until the last second of that match. But if your team does suck in War Thunder, it doesn't really make that much of a difference to the rewards that you get, as long as you do the best that you can. And that's probably one of the things that I like the most about War Thunder, the fact that if you come out of a match with a crappy result, there really is nobody to blame but yourself, right? You cannot lay the responsibility at the feet of your team. As always, folks, watch your 6, and I'll catch you next time.